Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast. Together we dive into the world of sci-fi and science fiction. From episodes of Star Trek, Star Wars, to The Walking Dead, Resident Evil, all the hot new science fiction movies from the backdoors of Marvel or DC. The Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast. You'll never look at science fiction the same way again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Science Fiction Podcast. I'm your host, Pauline, and today I am very excited to share some news with everyone because, as you know, I have a newfound love with the movie Starship Troopers, and we did a whole episode on Starship Troopers a couple episodes back. So if you want to listen to that one, you can definitely find it on our network website. That's GSMCpodcast.com, as well as on, of course, as you guys know, iTunes, Google Play. You guys can even listen to these episodes on SoundCloud and Stitcher. But anyway, so if you want to listen to that one where we really dive into Starship Troopers, you guys are going to have to go check that out at your own time. But for right now, I have some exciting recent news in regards to the movie. Now, the film is set through Columbia Pictures for a reboot, and I'm really, really excited for it because, like you guys know, I fell in love with with Starship Troopers, and I really do love the film. And so the studio, and I just wanted to give you guys some information and an update as far as what we know now in regards to this reboot. So the screenwriters are going to be Mark Swift and Damian Shannon, it's going to be, and these names might sound familiar to you guys, especially as far as working together, because they also wrote the 2003 Freddy versus Jason. If you loved it, you hate it, you didn't, but there you go. So that they did Freddy versus Jason, as well as the 2009 Friday the 13th remake. And so they are also working on a Baywatch movie together, as well as it's been reported that they are going to write Disney's live action Aladdin prequel called Genie. So that's just some background and some things that they have done, especially as a pair, that they do a lot of remakes, or like reboots of certain movies and films and stories. So now, if you guys don't remember, so for those of you who don't know, Starship Troopers was in 1997, and it starred Casper Van Dien, as well as Denise Richards and Neil Patrick Harris. And I got to talk about Neil a little bit later in the episode as well, because he is working on a new project as of late. But anyway, so it was basically, the film is based on Robert A. Heinlein's novel called Starship Troopers. Okay. And then it was at that time directed by Paul Verhoeven, as well as, it was just a lot of fun. And if you haven't seen it, honestly, you would still enjoy it today. You could definitely rent it, watch it. I'm not quite sure if you can find it on any streaming. I believe I watched it just on demand. So there's a few different ways that you can rewatch the movie. But the nice thing about it is, which I'm very excited, is that it's not going to be a remake of the movie. It's just going to be a new take on the novel itself. So it's not which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see, because they still haven't released or picked a director or a cast. There's no announcement on who will be a part of this film, but we do know that it doesn't include anybody from the 1997 movie. So it's going to be its own separate of the novel, its own take on the novel, which I'm excited because it's always nice to see reiterations of the same story. Some are good, some are bad, some are like, we could have did without that. But like I said, I'm excited for it. It makes me want to watch it again. And it's kind of funny because it took me this long to really enjoy this movie and finally watch this movie. And so I'm excited to know that they're coming out with a new one. There hasn't been any release date as far as when they are planning on having this film ready. It's just the news. This is basically just the breaking part of the fact that they are doing a reboot. And like I said, they don't even have a director. They don't have any cast members, like anybody casted for the film as of yet. I don't know who would make a good one. I'm hoping that it's just as fun. I'm excited to see how they will, like with the new effects and the visual effects that we have at our disposal nowadays and what they're going to do. I really hope that they don't make it look too computer effect-y and to where we can tell that it's really fake. You know what I'm saying? Because some movies you can really tell and you're just like, that was really, really fake. But then there's others where it's like, we know that it's fake, but it looked cool. It looked really, really good. So like I said, I'm excited for that. I will definitely give you guys an update when we learn more information about it. And as soon as they start casting actors and actresses, of course, that's our favorite thing to discuss is who's playing who and whether or not we think that they're going to do a good job. So that's on Starship Troopers. I do have some new information on The Walking Dead. Now, The Walking Dead, if you guys don't know, if you guys follow it, if you don't follow it, but it is a comic series as well. And so a lot of times, and it follows fairly well with the comic, like the storyline of the comics. So if you've read the comics, a lot of things you do already know. But then there are some things that that it's loosely based upon. And I guess that's what's everything. Everything that has a book, a novel, a comic that precedes it. There are times, of course, when the film or the TV show doesn't follow along at all. They just use the same name or the main character goes by the same name, but it's very, very different. And then there's times where, kind of like with Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, where it's kind of like the storyline of the books, but then it seems like they smash a lot of the books into one film and they take bits and pieces and all of that. So it just depends. But anyways, so The Walking Dead is, this season is only a few episodes in. And if you are behind in the show, you are very far behind because there's quite a few seasons and quite a few shows. But, this isn't they're not doing a mid-season break or a season finale because you know that they're only 2 and 3 episodes in. But the 4th episode is going to be an 85-minute episode. So it's almost, in a way-ish, a short film, like a small, short film, but it is just one TV show and it's episode, that's going to be 85 minutes long. And it's not, like I said, it's not a season finale. They're not going on break. It's really just that much content that they want to put into one episode. So it's going to be fairly long. And now we know, and I told you, I'm not going to do any spoilers. I'm going to do my best so that if you are keeping up to date with The Walking Dead, that this doesn't ruin anything from you. But if you haven't seen the first few episodes, they have been focusing on different characters, right? And so at first they focused on Negan, which I know everybody is upset about. And then there was also them focusing on Morgan and Carol being introduced into the kingdom, And then this episode that's upcoming is the sanctuary. We're going to be introduced to the sanctuary. And again, if you've read the comics, you already know what to kind of expect. And so they are believing that this 4th one will definitely show, and we don't know much about the 4th episode at all because 1, it hasn't come out, and 2, we never know what kind of a twist or spin they're going to put on the comics. So anyways, they were saying, and it's been reported, that all we know as of right now is that the title of the 4th episode, this 85-minute episode, is service. And then the short, brief description is the remaining members of the group try to keep it together in Alexandria. They receive a sobering visit. Now, if you've been keeping up, this can mean a lot of different things. And I'm sure when you hear that description, your mind starts to go and you're trying to piece together characters and everything like that. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, I'm expecting a lot of content to be pushed into this episode because of the fact that it's so long and that they needed to extend it a little bit to make sure that they can squeeze in everything instead of, making it 2 separate episodes and kind of dragging it out. They're putting in a lot of content. So we're very, very excited. And like I said, the most things, and the one small tidbit is that, and it doesn't really give anything away, it's just more looking at Negan. So that's that piece on The Walking Dead. And I don't want to say anything else because I don't want anybody to be too mad at me. And so we're going to cut it to a quick break. And then when we come back, I want to give an update on The Dark Tower because there has been a new release date. I know that in the last episode, I did tell you guys that it was getting pushed back, but we know now the new projected date, as well as Jumanji, which was also pushed back. So keep it locked here. There's a lot more that we have to discuss. So you are listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Science Fiction Podcast. I will be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Science Fiction Podcast. I'm your host, Pauline, and I wanted to give an update on some information that I gave you guys in the last episode. And so The Dark Tower was set to be released in February 2017, and we were told that they were going to need to push it back a little bit to the summer because of needing to tweak with the visual effects and just add some finishing touches and really make sure that it was a good product. So they told us that they were going to push it back until summer 2017. And at first they did not give us a release date, but they have. It's going to be pushed into July 28th, 2017. So midsummer, not bad. But if you recall that, Jumanji, which is featuring and starring both Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson, was set to be released that day. And so instead of having both those films released at the same time, of course, they have pushed back Jumanji to December 22nd, 2017, which honestly, I'm pretty excited for that because it's more of I feel like, and this is just me and my type of, this is my opinion on movies. So movies in the summer, I like them to be more action and more exciting and more fun. I really enjoy comedies during this summer. I mean, I guess you can watch a comedy anytime, but I feel like summertime is when I like to watch a lot of adventurous movies and science fiction movies. Whereas during Christmas time, I like to watch more family movies. So I think that this is a great idea for them to push it back to have Jumanji pushed back to December 22nd. And I think that that is a great idea because you don't want to rush anything. And I personally am very excited for Jumanji. I loved it growing up, but actually used to scare me when I was growing up because it would just seem too real. And I think I've shared this story with you guys before that I was always really nervous that, I would never play the board game, because you could buy the board game at the store, and I never wanted to play the board game because I knew that it couldn't happen, but just in case, right? Because I was young. But anyway, so I am excited to relive that Jumanji again when they release it next winter in December. And so that was kind of my updates on those two projects that we've been discussing in recent episodes, because I'm very excited for it. And then I did want to dive into now Netflix has been doing a really good, I just feel like Netflix has really been bringing on and giving us a lot of sci-fi series, and it's been a lot of fun. And especially, like, I feel like back to back, they've been releasing these new series and really being big on competition and not slacking behind at all. So I'm very excited. So now there was, and the news that I wanted to drop, and they just released a trailer for this, because they are doing a series entitled A Series of Unfortunate Events. And if you recall, this was a book series, and it was a 3-book series. And then also Jim Carrey was Count Olaf in the Paramount edition, like the Paramount film of this in 2004. And so I don't know why, but it's really exciting. I mean, and I don't want to say exciting, because sometimes it can get overdone when there's like a book, then a movie, then it becomes a TV series, because sometimes it just gets overdone and it's just a lot. But people love A Series of Unfortunate Events, and people love the books, and they're still very, very popular amongst kids and adults, really. And so they did a great job, and I like Jim Carrey as Count Olaf. And so, but the thing is that now it's going to be, so Netflix is releasing an 8-episode season starring Neil Patrick Harris. And so he is going to be playing Count Olaf, and that was who Jim Carrey had played. And we're not quite sure. They haven't told us if this is going to be a season where they're just basing it upon one book or part of one book, the first book, or is it going to feature elements and stories from all 3 of the books? And so we're not sure how much they're going to cram into one season versus stretching it out. Now, they have just, like I said, released the trailer, the first trailer for this. Now, I will say, let me read the synopsis provided by Netflix. And so, because it is coming up, it's, let me just tell you guys the synopsis, and then I'm going to give you guys my opinion after watching the trailer for this series. And so it says, based on the internationally best-selling series of books by Lemony Snicket, aka Daniel Handler, and starring Emmy and Tony Award winner Neil Patrick Harris, A Series of Unfortunate Events recounts the tragic tale of the Baudelaire orphans Violet, Claus, and Sunny, whose evil guardian, Count Olaf, who's, like I said, being played by Neil Patrick Harris, will stop at nothing to get his hands on their inheritance. The siblings must outsmart Olaf at every turn, foiling his most devious plans and disguises in order to discover clues to their parents' mysterious death. The 8-episode series is a Netflix original production, executive produced by Emmy Award winner Barry Sonnenfeld and Daniel Handler, and premieres January 13th, 2017, only on Netflix. So it's right around the corner that we're going to get this series. So we have a few things that we got to hurry up and binge watch in order to be prepared for this. Now, I don't know. Okay, honestly, I'm not a big fan of Neil Patrick Harris in this role. I'm not quite sure how I feel about him. And again, watching the trailer, and it could be because I need to erase the image of Count Olaf in my mind being played by Jim Carrey. So I feel like he doesn't look right, and that's really hard for me to get over. As silly as that sounds, it really, really is. And so that could be one reason as to why I'm not really feeling him in this role after seeing this trailer. But I just hope that I mean, they'll do fine. And I usually do enjoy Netflix original series, and I really enjoy all of the different science fiction series that we're getting through Netflix, especially this past summer and all through summer, and now continuing on into the new year. So I am excited for it. But I don't know if it's going to be one of those things where I'm going to watch all 8 episodes together, binge watch it, or I just need to really get off Neil Patrick Harris and just get off of that and just recognize him and just let him be. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen with that. And I'm interested. I know a lot of people are just going to watch it because, like I said, A Series of Unfortunate Events is a very popular book series. And I don't know if it's just that right now we're in a drought with new content, new series, new books, new novels, new comics. I'm not quite sure because I feel like, and I mean, you guys can hit me up on Twitter or on Facebook if you guys don't agree, but I just feel like a lot of things are getting redone. There's just been a lot of remakes in both film, television. There's just a lot of remakes. There's nothing really new. And I do enjoy the new spin-offs and the new twists on common or well-known and well-loved stories. Especially like how I said with like Starship Troopers, how it's going to just be a new take on the same novel. It's not going to be a remake. And some, but I just feel like there's sometimes where there's movies and books or television series that just keep getting redone every few years, every decade or so, they're redone again. And so I don't know if we're getting bored or lazy. And so we just are regurgitating things that worked before in the past. Now, it's not saying that I don't like it all the time, because you guys do know that I'm looking forward to Jumanji. So I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I want something new. I want something really, really new and a new idea and a new concept. And I don't want it to be all at the same time. And what I mean by that is, that they had a point in time these last few years where we were given basically, it was two different movies, two different series, two different ideas, but it's basically the same story. And what I mean by this, and don't get me wrong, because I watched all of them, of both of these series, but then we had Divergent and Hunger Games. You know what I'm saying? And it was like watching the exact same storyline. And yes, and I'm sure there are some people that are going to tell me, well, Hunger Games was better because of X, Y, and Z, whereas Divergent was better because of LMNOP. That's fine, but honestly, they were very, very similar. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care. I know that's just how it is. And so that's what I'm saying is I just want, if we are going to get something that's a new idea or a new like a film or a TV series based upon a new novel, that I just hope that they don't do 2 or 3 of the same thing. And then there was like where we had like the Maze Runner. It was all very, very similar concepts and ideas, and that's what I mean by that. And so we are going to take it to a quick break, but then when I come back, I want to discuss BlizzCon 2016. So keep it locked here. You are listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Science Fiction Podcast.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Science Fiction Podcast. And we are getting ready to wrap up this episode. But before I do, I think it would be wrong not to discuss BlizzCon 2016. Now, Blizzard Entertainment is and it's really funny because I attended UC Irvine, and UC Irvine is located in BlizzCon, or not BlizzCon, excuse me, but Blizzard Entertainment. You drive past it every day. Well, from one of the entrances onto campus, you drive past Blizzard. And so it's really cool because a lot of my friends I even had two roommates that I lived with who they were going to school at UC Irvine's and they wanted to work for Blizzard. And so it's very, very exciting. But right now what's going on is that this weekend, the weekend of November 4th through the 5th, is BlizzCon. Now, BlizzCon is a convention, and it's the 10th this is actually the 10th one that they have held, where it's basically, and if you don't know, and if you're thinking, well, is it really that big of a deal? It is. It truly is. It's been sold out for a while. And basically it is, you can watch the championships, and they have like a tournament. They've already had like the opening ceremony. They sometimes give us new updates as well as they reveal to us certain things about the video games. They reveal to us some updates and some releases as well. And so it's a lot of fun, and fans get to go, and they come from all over the world, and the teams that we have competing against one another also come from all over the world. But basically it's to watch World of Warcraft, Heroes of the Storm, and Hearthstone championships. Now, and it's a lot of fun, like I said, and there's and so it takes place over the weekend, and all of these are Blizzard developed games. So that's why it's certain ones. Okay. And you get to go watch them battle it out and it's esporting, and esports honestly is growing. It truly, truly is growing. And I'm not going to be surprised if this BlizzCon event continues to grow and if it starts to extend longer than just the weekend, because esports, like I said, is growing. And even at UC Irvine, they just opened up an esports lounge on campus, right on campus. So anyways, basically it's the European Championships of, gaming championships and they have a lot of these overseas, actually, in a lot. And so you get to watch them, and there is also other things for when you're not competing. So if you're just there as a fan to watch, there's a lot of activities. They have competitions. They have like cosplay competitions for you to participate in throughout the event, as well as some other little things that they have for them. So it's kind of like a convention, not many like workshop type things, but mostly just interactions and different exhibits for you. But then the really cool thing about BlizzCon that they're doing this year that I think is a really good idea is that you can buy a virtual ticket. So you can stream, as they're doing a live stream, and they are doing some parts of the tournament you can find online, and that they're live streaming for free. And there's like a lot of like the Twitch platforms as well. But the thing is that if you want to watch everything and you don't want to miss out on any of the access for BlizzCon, especially if you're at home and not able to attend, it's only and what it is that it includes the live stream as well as in-game goodies for World of Warcraft, Overwatch, Diablo 3, Heroes of the Storm, and StarCraft 2. And so it's a lot of good stuff, and it's fairly cheap. It's really not that big of a deal, and especially if you enjoy Blizzard entertainment. And it's really nice because if you go on the BlizzCon website that they have for you, you can watch some of and it's live, so you're watching it as it's happening, and you can there's coverage of everything that's going on during the event. And then there's also a really good schedule that they have, because there are different tournaments happening all at the same time. And so if you are interested, they give you like the timeline, and they tell you what's happening at that time. And so you could follow along. It's really easy to navigate. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, that's blizzard.com. And then they also have a forum online, which is really cool, that, you got to sign in and things like that. But they are doing like meetups at BlizzCon. So even if you're not a part of and you didn't get a ticket, they are doing certain meetups outside as well. And then they also open it up to a general discussion. So it's a lot of fun. And if you don't play any Blizzard Entertainment games, that's fine. But it's really difficult, I believe, truly. And I'm a person who doesn't even game that much. But you've heard of some of these games. You know, World of Warcraft has been around for so long, and it's exciting, and people get really into it. And so that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. And like I said, if you want to keep up and you want to watch it, it's all online, and it's a lot of fun, and it's honestly more fun than you think. And I was pleasantly surprised at how enjoyable it can be. So that's going to do it for this episode. You could listen to this episode again, as well as other episodes, future and past, on our network website. That's GSMCpodcast.com, as well as on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. I got to go. We'll talk to you guys later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.